What's going on, everyone? We are back with F1, this time in a new country underneath the lights, bringing the third race of the season, coming to you from Melbourne, Australia. Once the first race of the season now reshuffled due to a pandemic worldwide, we are here to see who is the fastest on track. We are going to have 3 different sectors, 14 turns, 3.27 miles of racing with an average speed of around 120 miles an hour. Albert Park is about to come alive. Thank you for visiting us once again, and let's take a look at the starting grid. On pole, we are going to have Sir Lapin and Sergio Perez bring the 1-2 for Red Bull. It's a front row lockout, but we're going to see what the other drivers can do. Behind the front row, we have George Russell and Charles Leclerc, Norris and Sainz, Alonso and Gasly, Ocon and Piastri, Bottas and Hamilton. For 13th, we have Stroll, Zhou for 14th, Ricciardo and Tsunoda, Albon and Magnussen, Hulkenberg, and then pulling up the last spot is Sargent. Now that we know where our drivers are at, let's get down on track. The lights aren't coming on in Melbourne. 5 red lights and the start of the Australian Grand Prix. Sir Lapin got a good launch, followed by Sergio Perez. Russell and Sainz are going to be fighting it out, and Norris is pulling up the 5th spot. Russell did make a good pass on Perez in the second corner, putting a little bit of distance on them. He is now up about 5/10. Sir Lapin making a lot of room between him and the back, up to 3.4 seconds now. Coming into this high-speed section.
Okay, we're monitoring some wear on the internal combustion engine. Be aware that we're going to start to see a loss of power.
We're coming down to this very high-speed left-hand turn. Very good carry of the speed. And off to the final section of the track. It does look like Sir Lapin is going to be dealing with some combustion issues, so we may actually see a first non-Red Bull pole this season, but we're going to have to see what happens between Sir Lapin and his vehicle. Taking that hairpin a little slow now into the high-speed straight out section, putting some space between him and the rest of the pack. He does come in at a 126.5, 5.5 seconds ahead of George Russell in second place. Further back, we have Sergio Perez, 6.7 seconds behind Sir Lapin, Norris 8 seconds, and Sainz 9 seconds behind the pole position. Doesn't look like Sir Lapin is having much issue with power. Still carrying a lot and able to put down a lot of throttle on these flat out sections, and just adding the time to the cars behind. Australia is a very impressive track, and one that I would think Ferrari could do pretty good at, as well as Suzuka, and maybe a track like Monaco. Could we see Red Bull finally taken out in the third race of the season? I do believe it would be a Ferrari to do the job, but Russell is cooking at the moment as well. Definitely out qualifying Hamilton in the last 2 Grand Prix. Russell does seem to be the lead Mercedes driver. Ten seconds now on the field. Sir Lapin is just cruising to a victory unless something out of his hands happens. A nice right hand high speed corner into this flat out section. Definitely one of my favorite corners of the circuit. connecting my other favorite corner of the circuit, another high-speed left-hander into a chicane. But you really got to be careful on riding the curb there. Sir Lappin almost into the gravel. Looks like everyone else has pretty much stayed put. We have Russell in second place, Sergio Perez in third, Lando Norris in fourth, and Sainz in fifth. Coming across the grandstands now and finishing the lap with a 1:21.8 as the best lap time. That last one was currently a 1:23, 14 seconds ahead of the field. Second to last lap, Sir Lappin does not seem to be having any trouble whatsoever. Sergio Perez is still very much in the middle of George Russell and Lando Norris. Does seem to be having a little bit of an issue locking in those settings for that car and pulling out as much of the performance as Sir Lappin has. Here we go again into this high-speed chicane style turn. Ooh, a little bit wide there off the line. Had trouble with the braking zone there. He did put out the fastest second sector of the lap, but the first sector is looking rather slow, and this third sector looking a little slow as well. I don't think we're going to see improvement on lap time. This will be the tell. And that there again is a 1:22.8. This is the final lap of the race. Sir Lappin solidly in first place. George Russell solidly in second, followed by Sergio Perez, Lando Norris, and Charles Leclerc. Two Red Bulls and a Mercedes on the podium with this last lap. We're going to see if it finishes out in that way. Real wide on that corner, Sir Lappin. Not as good quality of a drive as we've seen, but still good enough to get 20 seconds ahead of the field. Fairly good connection. A little sharp on that exit. Otherwise, I love how flat out the cars sound through there. Back on the power. Not too much though. You got to get through there, and then now you want to bleed off some more. Down to the checkered flag. Sir Lappin takes pole position. George Russell in second place and Sergio Perez on the podium. The Red Bull 1-3 Mercedes takes the second place. Driver of the day goes to Lewis Hamilton. Red Bull is solidly locking in their performance for the Constructors' Championship. Sir Lappin is doing some damage as well, making a lot of points in the first three races. The same with Sergio Perez. And the real question is going to be further back in the field. What can the other drivers do? What can they deliver? And can they get on pole for at least one race this season? I was really bummed out that Sainz had some appendicitis last weekend. He is the driver that I really think can make something happen. But it was good to see Ollie Behrman do so well and maybe get a look at a seat for next year. Obviously, it's way too early in the season to tell what is gonna be happening with all those seats, but I'd really like to see him and Liam Lawson in a seat next year. I think they're both excellent drivers and have definitely prove themselves. I'm really excited to get back into the race weekend. Some normalcy has returned with the race on Sunday, so don't be hoping for a race on Saturday. Definitely hang out a little longer in the weekend. We are going to have practice 1 and 2 on Friday, practice 3 and quali on Saturday, and race on Sunday. Thank you all for stopping by. And as always, have a good day.